Hello and welcome to Jennifer Knatters. I am Jennifer and this is my knitting and nattering video podcast. If you'd like to find me elsewhere on the web, I am Jennifer Aves here and on Instagram, and I am Noirem, Noirem, on Twitter and Ravelry. It's been a bit of a time, huh? If you don't know, I live in Inverness with my family, my 2 children, my husband, and 2 cats. We are all doing just fine. The government basically put everyone on lockdown about 2 weeks ago. It's hard for me to know. We went into self-isolation just as a preventative measure 3 weeks ago. There's something flying around in the trees behind me over here. We went into self-isolation 3 weeks ago, so we're kind of just in that timeless bubble of staying home with everyone, and every day is exactly the same, even the ones that in small ways are not. So I don't even remember what I was saying. Today is Friday the 3rd of April. Hopefully I'll get this up later today. I have not done much knitting because I have my children home and I get to cook and clean and find things for them to do and go for long walks with them. And if it sounds like I'm complaining, I'm not. It's fine. It's all been fine. We're fine. Inverness is fine. The Highlands are fine. Scotland as a whole is slightly less fine, but you know, fingers crossed, and there's a strong social will here that I hope will help people who are less fine. But yeah, so I hope you all know we're in a discombobulated headspace, and I'm in a discombobulated headspace, and my children may come in at any moment, so I don't have any notes. So let's kind of get to it. The main thing I worked on since last we spoke was my Incunabula by Karie Westermann, and I was still going back and forth. Here's my little kitty stitch marker. So I went back and forth a few more times and then split. The pattern says to do the back first, but my yarn was attached in the front, so I knit the front and then picked up yarn and knit my other front, and then I knit the back, and I washed it, and then I set it aside because the next thing I need to do is pick up stitches and knit a sleeve. And this is not even a tricky, it's not a difficult thing to do. I mean, you do have to pay attention a little bit, but it's not a particularly difficult thing to do if you're in a good headspace for doing it. And just, I'm not feeling the large project love right now. I don't know. On the other hand, I've been wearing all of my other sweaters. This was a custom fit, an Amy Herzog, one of her pattern ones, that I also did through her custom fit. And I've been wearing this one. I've been wearing my stripy cardigan in the blacker brushwork. This is Jamie Possum Plus, New Zealand brand with possum and merino. I've been wearing all my homemade jumpers, my owls, my Kate Davies owls that I knit in, now I'm blanking on the mill down, in Paisley. If you are Scottish and you're watching this, New Lanark Mill. You are probably throwing things at the screen right now like, how could she forget that? It's just because we're in a weird time of coronavirus. I've been wearing all my jumpers. I've been wearing my cowls. I've been wearing a few of my shawls, and I stopped knitting shawls because I don't wear shawls. It's all been cozy and comfy, and I know the second I finish this, I'm going to have it in heavy rotation. It's just not where my headspace is right now. Although I am resisting the urge to cast on like 6 other jumpers at the same time. So I have to finish that one first before I can cast on a new jumper. The other project that has seen a fair amount of love, although less so, since the schools went out and we stopped going to the tiny little park. They also closed the playgrounds, which we were going to stop going to anyway. But since the schools let out and we haven't been going to the parks, there's a tiny little park that very few people know about in a little, behind a little, I mean, it's behind a couple houses. It was like they had a lot, but they couldn't get a driveway to it, so they put in swings and a teeter-totter instead. That's where we were going. But I was working on the sock. There's my stitch marker. I just turned the heel and I got a fair amount of distance down the foot. I finished all the decreases for the gusset here and was working on the foot, and we haven't really gone out much, or it's been too cold to knit when we are going for our walks and stuff, or I wind up carrying my children's scooters while they decide to run around instead. So these haven't gotten as much love, but that's a vanilla sock pattern, and it's an RNLI. Ooh, Libby just came in through the window, and now she's going to discover that the door is shut and she can't get into the rest of the house. RNLI charity yarn from Helen of Ripples Crafts. The jumper is in Blacker Classic DK, which I believe has been discontinued. This is the plum colorway. Doot, 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 doot. And my next small project that's easy to show you, this is the one I've been working on the most since I finished doing the body of my cardigan. And it's upside down, so this will be the top. And this is Fortune's Green by Carol Feller, and it is a cowl. And it's one of the ones I like where it's going to be longer in the front and shorter in the back. So it wears, this is a bit more on the cowl side than the scarf or the shawl side that I normally do. I think I hear footprints coming. Libby is looking out all the windows trying to figure out how she's going to get out of this room that isn't going back out through the window she just came in through. This one's going to be a bit more cowl-like, but it is longer in the front. And I think I may just keep going. I'm almost done with the pattern, but I've got a big chunk of yarn left. So I don't know if I'm going to keep going or if I might make a pair of matching mitts, or I could probably even get a small hat. And this is a Tweedy yarn from Helen of Ripples Crafts again. And I like this one because it's got the rainbow neeps, the little flashes of color. Although they're not attached, they're not particularly woven into the yarn, they're just like held on by the barest thread. But I got this one because it's kind of a slaty blue, and then it's got these pretty little flashes and these fake cables, and then it's just going to be a cowl. And yeah, so that'll be exactly the kind of thing I tend to wear. Pretty colors, thoughts of spring on a less sunny day. And yeah, I haven't entirely decided how I'm going to finish that, if I'm just going to finish the pattern, which I do a few more of the short rows that make the front longer, and then it's ribbing again. Sorry, I have the tiniest tickle in my throat. Here, let me have a little tea. I have not been drinking much tea lately. I get 1 to 2 cups a day. This is my second cup today because we are rationing milk. My children each get 1 full cup a day. When our milk delivery is set up, hopefully we'll have enough milk that we don't have to ration it quite so closely. But milk is not lasting as long as it normally does. We usually get 3 of the medium large jugs of milk, and then that gets us, we usually get a delivery Saturday or Sunday. That gets us through to Thursday. You know, I usually save a little bit for me to have in my tea Friday morning. Then my youngest and I would go to gymnastics, and there's a little co-op shop underneath where the gymnastics is, so I would pick up a little carton of milk. If we're getting a Saturday delivery, I'd get a little pint, and if it's a Sunday delivery, I would get a 2 pints. And we're not doing that now, but there's a cap on milk, so we can't get 4 things of milk. So milk is the one thing we've been having to ration to get through on our weekly food delivery that thus far we've been able, fingers crossed, knock wood, we've been able to keep getting. And as I said, we're getting food from other places, so even if we don't get our weekly food shop, there's only a couple things that be problematic. But yeah, milk rationing. So I've been giving up my tea. I've been kind of drinking. Now the yelling is coming from inside my house. You didn't hear it earlier, but there was yelling coming from the woods. Uh-oh. Let me just pause this real quick. Sorry about that. It's really okay. They were playing in the ball pit. They're pretending the ball pit is lava, and my 7-year-old fell into the lava pit, turned into a lava monster, and then was trying to get the 3-year-old who ran screaming. So we have talked about the fact that the 3-year-old runs screaming too many times. She decides to stop playing, and if you want her to keep playing, you can't scare her too badly. So hopefully they'll be okay for a little bit. I think I was just about done talking about Fortune's Green. It's a fun, sensible project. Carol Feller loves her short rows. She's kind of known for it. So it is a different type of construction. That sound is coming from the woods. And now there's more screaming from in the house. But yeah, it's a different way of making the kind of longer in front cowl shawl than the ones I've done. So it's interesting. I don't know that it'll be my favorite way for doing it, but it's certainly effective. It works really well. The other thing I haven't put nearly as much time in as I should is my rainbow blanket. So this is the bottom edge. As you can see, my edge wibbles and wobbles. This is my first big crochet project. This is a corner to corner blanket. I think I'm doing just fine. I've gotten better these last, I've kind of figured out what I'm doing on the edge. The edge is looking better. And it goes up and up and up and up. And you can see over here is my progress keeper. That's where I was last time we spoke. Since we spoke, my 3-year-old peed on the blanket. She woke up in the night and was crying a lot and came to me for a cuddle, and then it turns out what she was crying about was that she really needed to go toilet, and if she'd only used her words, we could have made it, but it was only a tiny bit of pee, and I will wash it. I'm almost done. That's where I had to do a little rejigging because I had missed one on the thing, but here going into the teal is where I changed colors. So I'm just going to get to the end of this ball. They're now clawing at the outside of the door. What is it, Pumpkin? Sorry, hold on. You have to actually get in the screen, baby.
Hi!
My children have figured out what I'm doing and they have come to say hi. So this is Catherine, and she's 3, and this is Christina. Can you wave? And she is 7, and they have been playing in their ball pit, which is why they have come bearing.
My 3 and this 7.
You're 3 and Dia is 7. That's right.
Mom, what are you doing?
I'm just recording. I'm talking about my knitting. Okay, I'm gonna pause this again.
No.
They are really cute and they're very nice, and 90% of the time they're getting on and behaving themselves. I've sent them off to go get yogurts from the fridge because we got a Tesco delivery today, so we have things like yogurt again. Yay! As I was saying, I've just made it to the purple, and I've reversed the direction the blanket was going, but I've just made it to the purple, and when I get, this one's actually not going to, this ball didn't start and stop at the same place as the first couple, so it's the purple, and then it'll start going into the green again. I'm almost done with this ball, and then I will wash it. It was only a tiny bit wet, and it doesn't smell like pee or anything, but I will wash it. And then from there, I think I'm actually going to start decreasing again, because it has gotten, you can't see, there's one arm, and I have to bend my arms all the way over here and move it over. There's the other end. So it's, I kind of wish I'd made it a little bit wider, but it's a good length. I have 2 balls I haven't used yet, and it was just under, that was the first ball, was teal to teal, and then the other end is going to show where I went to. So it was teal, and then it was the orange. So where did I change? Yeah, I changed in the middle of this teal. So I did the green, yellow, and orange was the second ball. So I'll finish this ball, and then I'll think about starting the decreases, and then I should have about one ball left over when I'm done, which is what I started with when I decided to pick up this project and then bought more balls. They're coming back. I think I've convinced my children to let me finish this on my own. It becomes a very different podcast when they're here, if only because I can't think of what it was I was going to talk about. So yeah, this blanket is about to start winding down. It'll go a lot faster when the rows are getting smaller, although I will have to stop and look up how to do decrease edges. But that should be easy enough. I'm feeling a bit discombobulated now. Yeah, that's life with my children, is I'm kind of just discombobulated all the time, though from what I understand, even people who don't have kids at home are just finding this to be a weird time. This is an unusual situation. Nothing like this has happened since 1918. We haven't had a pandemic this virulent since white settlers came to what would later become the US and started handing out smallpox blankets to a population with absolutely no immunity. So yeah, this is a new and exciting in the not fun kind of way. But yeah, we're doing fine. We are mostly in good spirits. Everyone has the occasional day where we're just like, Christina had the whole weekend. But it's hard. I mean, she's old enough to understand. Catherine doesn't understand. She's old enough to understand. We're keeping it light. We're keeping it, we're doing this to make sure so people don't get sick. It's very important. People are sick. The toddler, we keep telling her that there's a fever, and we need to make sure we don't get the fever, and we don't get the fever to anyone else if we do get it. So we have to stay home. The best analogy I've heard was it's the Schrodinger's virus. You have to act as if you have it and are trying not to spread it to anyone else, and that you haven't gotten it, and you must protect yourself at all costs from getting it. So you have to do both at the same time. And my youngest one is an extrovert. Someone we know stopped by the house, stayed outside. We stayed inside, but stopped by the house yesterday, and she basically just kept being like, hi, like every 2 minutes or so she'd jump up and yell hi again and start waving. And she's very much an extrovert, and she's used to seeing people and saying hello, and she clearly misses that. And my older one is more of an introvert like my husband and I, but she does miss her friends, and everything we have a big house, we have a big garden, we have a trampoline just over there. We're getting to go for bike rides. So there's lots of stuff that's good, but it's the same every day, and that's hard. So yeah, I hope you're doing as well as we are, because we are honestly doing as well as anyone could possibly hope or expect. And if not, then I hope things get better. We've been planting some stuff, not so much outside. It snowed overnight. It was just a dusting of snow, but it snowed overnight. So April's supposed to be warmer, and hopefully if the forecasts look like they're holding, I can start planting some things outside. I want to plant some pea shoots because my children love peas. It's like their favorite thing to eat from the garden. But inside I've planted some cress and some lettuce, because I really want leafy greens. I've seen on Instagram someone had a lot of taking like a bag of dried peas for cooking, soaking them overnight, and then planting them, and they've got lots and lots of shoots now, and you can even just eat the shoots straight the way they are. So even if the peas in the bag aren't going to be good producers, you can just eat those stalks as delicious young leafy greens that are full of nutritional stuff. Yeah, so we've got some stuff to look forward to. The bulbs are coming up. The daffodils are just starting to bloom here. Our end of the street, those woods mean we don't get a lot of direct sunlight. Our front garden is only just getting sunlight. The sun actually came in our front windows this week, and it was the first time it had happened since 6 months ago. So the bulbs are blooming. We've got the daffodils are about half open, and the tulips, you can see them pushing up. So spring is definitely on the way. You can kind of see the little green right here. I don't know if you can see those, but those are the buds on the climbing hydrangea that's on the trellis out here. Yeah, so spring is a very uplifting time. Like everyone else, I am planning on adding a home garden in the space we have. I mean, I've been working towards that for a while now, but definitely have lots of time with very little else to do since I can't concentrate enough to knit. But yeah, more effort in the garden. I've got a sourdough starter going. We've been baking more. My limitation right now is I have lots of self-raising flour, and I have one bag each of the plain flour and the bread flour. So I need recipes that call for self-raising flour. Most of my recipes are for the plain or the strong. But yeah, we'll get through. We'll find things. I mean, I don't think I would ruin things too much. You just don't add as much baking powder or other rising agents if you use self-rising flour instead. So yeah, baking experiments and cooking more. Veg box delivery again, which we had before we had kids and we actually had time to cook. So it's kind of nice to get back to some of this stuff. One could wish it was under better circumstances. I reread, that's what I can talk about. I reread Feed by Mira Grant, who is Seanan McGuire's medical thriller pen name. I reread Feed and then Feedback, which is actually the fourth book she wrote in the series, but it is a parallel novel to Feed about different people, and it is set in a future where a pandemic has made it so that everyone basically lives inside and you have to do blood tests before they'll let you in. And anyone can suddenly, everybody has the virus, but it can suddenly go active. And in this case, it basically turns you into a zombie. And zombies is not the point of the book. The point is it's a political thriller set in this post-pandemic world. And it's feeling awfully prescient. And Ms. McGuire was like, it's not prescient. It's not like, it's accurately medically researched. I can't tell if she's crying in the other room or if she's playing a game. Anyway, she did a lot of research on pandemics and epidemiologists saying there's going to be a bad one and it's basically going to result in everyone having to lock themselves in their homes. So she wrote a novel about it. 4 novels and a whole bunch of short stories. But it's a really good book. It's the weird thing about reading it in the current times is I feel like we should be further along in adjusting to this, because the novel is set 20 years after the pandemic. So they've obviously adjusted, society's adjusted to living in this post-pandemic world. So I keep being like, well, why don't we have things like they have where, you just keep people separated and have, checks to see if people are poorly, and it's an entirely different type of pandemic. So, but yeah, I keep feeling like we should be further along in adjusting to this, but it hasn't even properly crested. So instead of Rise Up, which was the slogan for, hey, this pandemic is happening and you should respond to it. The one for this one should be stay home. Flatten the curve. So that is what we are doing, and I hope that's what you're doing, and I hope you have nice things to read, either things that are a bit on the nose or things that are completely escapism and fluffy, because I like them both. Thank you very much for watching if you've made it this far. I have no idea how long this video is because I kept stopping and restarting it, and I hope I'll get this up soon, and I hope if you watch it that it brings you some comfort. I'd love to hear about what's bringing you comfort. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.